The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
So I'm going to share with you a story which I think is a great story. It's not one of the stories that are like, and then they were, falling off the airplane and they fell back on. Never heard a story like that, but it's not one of those. But it's still, I think it's a great, I'll let you judge. Not me too harshly, but please, listen to the story. As we speaketh, Israelith is now decided, because of this new variant known as phylacteries, that every Jewish man from the age of 13 must put something on every day to save themselves. Anyway, so because of this new, we have God as we know the omnipotent, and we know He's omnipresent, and we know that He created Omicron. And so now there's a new rule in Israel. If you have an Israeli passport, you're not allowed to leave Israel. Even if you have an American passport, it is considered that you're Israeli and you happen to have an American passport. I'm not sure how it's legal, don't ask me. But we don't ask questions. We do what we gotta do. We gotta do it. Night. Okay, so I've got a problem. How'd I get here?
How's he going back?
How am I going back? Now I feel like Cotton Eye Joe. 7th inning stretch. Anyway. So how am I get there? I'm getting back. Like, what's going to be, right? Comes to the Tova. When was the law? When did the law come into effect? We're now on Thursday. This came into effect on Tuesday night at midnight. Tuesday night at midnight it came into effect. Now I am supposed to be in Brooklyn on Sunday. So because I have that, I'm coming in. All right, to get there on Sunday, I have to leave Saturday night. It's a little bit challenging, so I'll come for Shabbat. All right, so when am I going to leave? I'm going to leave on Thursday night. Thursday night, I'm talking about before they made the rules. That's when you go. You leave on Thursday night, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, whatever. And coming to America. And I come to America at 6 o'clock in the morning. You would go JFK. And if you take Newark, you end up 4 in the morning. Whatever. It depends what you do. United, Delta, El Al. So, general standard protocol for me is I'm going to come in. I'll get there in the morning, and that'll be great. I'll leave on Thursday night. I'll get there Friday morning. The problem is that they put this new law into effect. I can't leave anymore. I have an Israeli passport. I'm stuck. What am I going to do? I can't go. So maybe I'll cancel it, maybe this, maybe that, and if you go, maybe you can't come back, and if you come back, then you have to go to a Corona hotel. Living it up at the Hotel Corona. It's beautiful, you get shots all day, and now they give you pills with it, it's whatever you want. Fine. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? So either I cancel the trip, I don't go, or I go a couple days early. I'll go before Tuesday at 12 o'clock, midnight. I'll go before midnight. Okay, so in the end, this is what ends up happening. I go before midnight. I set up a flight. I'm going to take a flight. The only problem is the flight is packed. There's no room. There's one seat left. In first class or business, it's called Polaris on United. And you can have it for the grand price of $3,000. Okay, so, I know you look at me and you think, of course. I know, thank you. You think, of course, this guy does not belong on a plane or near any people. But, I don't know, $3,000, forget about it. I'm not even Italian, but I became. Forget about it. It's not happening. I don't have $3,000 to spend on that. Okay, so, I made a few phone calls. Translation, my wife took care of everything. But I made a few phone calls. They were all to my wife asking, did you find something out yet? And she ends up finding out there's a flight that's leaving after midnight that's flying to Chicago and then from Chicago to Newark. Only problem is going after midnight, but don't worry, because United understands the rule. So they're moving it back 5 minutes to 11:55 so that they can get it in time. Anybody ever been on a plane before and they actually took off the moment they said they're going to take off?
Never.
There's always 5 minutes that you're going to mess up. And you know what happens in Israel? Like, if this is the law, you know? I do not care, lo mishaneh. This is the law. It doesn't make any sense. לא משנה, מה זה כל השאלות? זה החוק. זה החוק. So imagine, I was picturing the scene. They're about to take off, you know, engines on, 11:59, 12 o'clock, and all of a sudden, you see like Mossad, the Shin Bet, like this, like, they storm the plane, you see like Darth Vader, dun, 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 dun. Everybody comes out of everywhere to like attack, stop the plane because it's 12:01, now everything is contagious, you know, like, you know, right now. It's like, what's going to be? All right. So I'm like, I really don't want to get on that flight. But I'm stuck. It's the only flight I can get on. So I take it. Get on that flight. They're going to take off 11:55. I decide to go to the airport early. And when I go to the airport early, I'll be able to maybe jump onto that plane. Security caught me jumping on. It was a whole thing. I thought I could pull that little, what's that guy, you know, on the side of the plane? Is it Mission Impossible, whatever? I think I could do it, you know. Didn't end well. So anyway, I thought I'll be able to get onto that plane. I get to the thing early. I get to the Del Pac. I don't know how to say it. The counter. Get to the counter. When I get to the counter, which now sounds like a kitchen. But when I got to, well, it's now definitely sounds like a kitchen. Right now you're thinking. But I get to the place where they check you in. And, I mean, that'll be awkward when you check in. And I say, is there any room on the flight, the one that's going at 11 o'clock instead of the one that's going at 11:55? They said, no, totally full. I'm like, okay, so what can I do? But then when you get through that and you're totally ready to go to the gate to board, my flight I think was G8 and the other one was G9. I know you're thinking like a G6, but I couldn't afford it. That was a jet. You know what I'm saying? It's too expensive. So there was a jet there. Anyway, so go ahead. I'm sitting there, I'm waiting, and I see them boarding that plane, and I hear them like, final boarding for the flight to Newark. So I went over to the counter, and I said, you know, maybe do you have standby? Like maybe I can get onto this flight? So they go, what do you mean, get onto the flight? So it's like, well, is there room on the flight? They said, yeah, there's a few seats. I was like, those big? Everyone goes little. I'm like, those big, you know? What do you mean? There's room. I said, okay. Now, mind you, you have to understand, I'm wearing a mask. We're in the airport. This is what you see. You understand? Yeah, I could look dangerous. And I get out there with my black hat, my tzitzis, and I was ready to roll. I said, let me get on. They said, yeah, sorry, you can't just go on. I said, why? They said, well, do you have any bags? Like checked in. I'm like, no. Checkmate. They're like, no, I don't have any bags. I have like my carry-on. And so this young woman, really nice, and she really was being very sweet. And she says to me, in order to do that, like you have to go through security. I said, I went through security. They said, no, you have to go through security like for this flight. I said, it's the same people. You know, like what? Like, what do you think? Like you're gonna come? Okay, are you on the flight? Yes. No. Okay, no. Are you on the flight? Still yes. Okay, fine. So what am I gonna do? So I go and they said, I'm like, so can you call security? I said, no, it's too late. They're all the way back there. And then she says, okay, I'll ask the person next to me. This girl's probably in her 30s. This other woman's probably 50s or so. Went over to the 50 or so woman who was like the supervisor, and said, you know, and has a little conversation. And then I see the dreaded, you know, it's not going to happen. I said, okay, listen, you'll be saving me like 5 hours. Like, A, I don't have to wait till there, and then I don't have to fly to Chicago. And what if it takes off late? And what if I miss the Chicago thing? You know, it's such a favor because just maybe we could do it. And there was no yelling, there was no screaming. I even spoke in English. I just went straight up English. I didn't even do like the Hebrew thing, like shalom, after ulai, lazor, osi. You know, I didn't do any of that. Like I just went straight up with English. And they're like, I'm so sorry, I can't do it. I'm like, okay, you know, okay. I thought of the Gemara, Nachum Ish Gamzu. I thought of Gamzu L'Tova. I said Gamzu L'Tova. And you know what? Hashem can do whatever He wants. And if He wants it to change, it'll change. If He doesn't want to change, it won't change. It is what it is. And it's not like the worst thing in the world. I'll take the other flight, hopefully. Some other guy starts talking, you trying to get on a plane? I'm also trying to get on a plane. I'm like, do you have a bag underneath? He's like, oh yeah, I do. Oh, forget it, right? And as he said that, this is 30 seconds after they told me no, the woman behind the counter says, excuse me. I said, yeah. She goes, I'm trying to get you on. I'm trying to get you on the plane. I said, huh? When do you ever have in Israel where they call you back and say, I'd like to help you. How can I help you? I was like, it didn't register. I was like, you want to kick me? She says, no, I want to help you. I said, what do you want to help me? So I want to get you on the plane. I said, oh. She goes, yeah. I remember you. I know you. And now I'm like, what is going on? What is going on here? How does she know me? How does she know who I am? And she goes, yeah, I know you. And I'm thinking, okay, like, what? Because I don't know who she is. And I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, like, I don't even know, like, why would you, something weird is going on here. So she goes, yeah, where do you know me from? And she says, I used to come to your classes in Esha Torah. I was like, what? Israeli, seemingly secular, seemingly girl. I'm not judging anything. At this stage, I don't know what's happening. There's a lot of seeminglies. Why would you have come to my class and whatever? It don't make sense. Girls can't come to these classes. This particular They used to have these classes called Essentials. It was open. Anybody can come in. I said, so why would this? But why would an Israeli be there? It's in English. I don't know what's going on. And she goes, yeah. I said, when? She goes, in 2008. 13 years ago. One mask. A partridge and... Wrong thing to say that now. And what happens over here? Unbelievable. I was like, wow, thank you. Fast forward, I just let her do her work. She did it. She says, yeah, but the other one says, yeah, you're going to have to now sit in a middle seat, though. I said, okay, fine. I'll take it. I want to get it, right? Then 30 seconds later, you know what? We'll work it out. We'll get you an aisle seat. I was like, whoa, I flew the plane. Wouldn't that be amazing? I wish that was true. Anyway, so I go ahead, an aisle seat. I flew it, from the aisle. Anyway, so what happens is, I end up, and I said to her, what's your name? What's your name? And I would say, but I'm a little, in case somebody's watching. Nobody really watches my classes anyway. I said, what's your name? And she said her name. And it sounds like a woman's name also. So again, in judgment. She says her name. I said, oh my goodness. Bam! It all came back. I said, I know you. And she says, you do? And I can't say what I said, but I said a few different things that it was very clear that I knew she was. I knew her, and I said, I didn't even tell her, it's not true. It's not from Aish that you know me. She knows me from another place. She knows me from Neve. She was in Neve. She was also in Aish, but that's where she actually first met me. She just doesn't realize that. I knew about her family life. I knew everything. It was unbelievable. And I went on the plane, but I thought to myself, how incredible is it that it was closed? I'm not getting on this flight. It's not happening. It's over. I spoke to one. I spoke to two. And then the security guy came over because they called him from the other whatever to come. He comes over. He's like, okay. I'm like, okay. He's like, do you speak English? I said, I do. He said, Ivrit. I said, okay. He said, אנחנו עושים את זה בעברית. I said, okay, we can do that. He said, עברית. I said, בסדר, אנחנו יכולים. And then he says, ask me like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to France. Like, the plane's going to Newark. Where do you think I'm going? I didn't say that. No way. It was in my head though, but I didn't do that. I was like, yes sir, yes sir. I told him where I'm going, and that's fine. And I got on the plane and I made the flight, and I was thinking, what a crazy thing that it was closed. It was signed and sealed. I'm not getting on this plane. And then, bam, the whole thing flips around in a moment. And she says, you're getting on. I remember you. think of the odds of me being there the night that she's working there, that she should remember me and see, and I guess, I don't know, maybe people, is there an eye mode on Torah anytime? Do you just watch eyes? How does this work, you know? Like, do you want to watch this? Do you want to listen to this? Or do you want eye mode, you know? It's going to be a thing now, eye mode, you know? So fine, and he's able to pick that out, and yet it ended up happening. It's an incredible concept to just think about. In our lives, it's there. The Yeshuas are all over the place. The sad part of the story is that I was shocked. That's the sad part. Because a moment before, I thought to myself, Hashem could do anything. And then he did it. And I was like, oh my gosh. And Hashem's like, yes, it is. It is your gosh.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org